we are, streaming live on Sunday, August 26th, and we're going to be talking about QAnon's insight to no name. That's what QAnon calls John McCain. Some really interesting insights and potential new QAnon proofs. And then the killing of Uncle Sam here, this book. We're going to go over chapter 15, which really digs into the deep state. Got a few people coming on, but most likely you're listening to the recording. So if you want to actually listen to a live recording, I get 100 or 200 new users per day. So this is really growing fast. And so I want you guys to know that if you ever want to see me live, you have to have the notifications bell, which is to the right of the subscribe button, highlighted, and it actually has to actually say all notifications. And YouTube is turning that off on a lot of users right now to occasional, and you never get notifications. So it looks like I'm getting notifications now that a lot of people are on from Oregon and Michigan and Netherlands and Oklahoma and Seattle and Idaho. So thank you guys so much. Central coast of California. Appreciate you guys joining me live here. And we're going to talk about the new QAnon drop as well. Q Insights to No Name, who's John McCain, right? And the Killing of Uncle Sam book here, again, is going to get into chapter 15, which is intriguing because it talks about where the New World Order came from and how they control the United States. And that is a vital chapter. I was going to go over 3 chapters, but it's such a big chapter, it took me forever just to get through it as far as summarizing it in a clear way for you guys. Again, let's get into QAnon post right now. Here we are. We're looking at the newest one that just came out earlier today. Here's QAnon saying on August 26th there, came out about 10:46 Eastern time. So suicide weekend, question mark. Hands up, question mark. And then kill brackets is 30, and kill brackets it has 28, 0:28. And it's got impossible, question mark. Coincidence, question mark. We are in control. Big capitalized week ahead, Q. Wow. So this is quite amazing when you go analyze this. And it's not perfect as a Q proof, but man, it's a lot of coincidences there that are hard to explain. And if Q is right about all the stuff that pulled together, it's crazy. So let's look at this. Suicide weekend. So a lot of people are saying, does that mean John McCain actually committed suicide? That's a potential option here because his wife even said he went out on his own terms, right? And there's a lot of question marks about this illness and where he got treatment, etc. We're going to dig into that. Hands up. That's what we're talking about right here. His Q posted this picture. And we're going to go analyze when exactly that was because what we realize, it was almost exactly 30 days prior to actual John McCain supposed death, right? Then the at 28 minutes is amazing because it was posted at 28 minutes, and that post was this hands up post, which we'll see in a second. And then John McCain died at 28 minutes. Now, how would the QAnon know that? And that's why he's saying impossible, question mark. Is it impossible that I knew that John McCain's death certificate would actually die on the 28th minute and that's why I posted 30 days ago, this 28th? Could that be possible? He's asking, is it a coincidence? Is it impossible? If it is, we are in control. I would say so. And so that also means it probably wasn't a natural death, if it's a death at all. And so those are the things that we're going to be going over. And I do want to be sensitive to people that love John McCain or love John McCain that might be listening to this, the recording or whatever. And I understand that. Your condolences, and it's hard to lose anybody. And no matter what John McCain was involved in, death is hard. And I'm sure there's good people that do love this man. And I just pray that he came to know the true Lord before he died, if he did die. But there's just a lot of evidence that we're going to talk about that Q's pointing to about the other possibilities here, right? So let's dig into this because we know what's happening right now. The deep state's being taken down by Trump, the NSA, and military intelligence. And QAnon's telling us a lot of information. And John McCain's central to this because they talked about a lot. So let's start doing some research. This is what we'll do. So the best way to do that is you go to QAnon.pub or QAnon.app and you can follow along with me. There's the upper left, there's a filter. So I can filter these 1,932 messages and get it down to a lot less. And Cueanon talks a lot about his surgery, right? So we're going to go research that in a second. But first I'm going to start pointing to this whole 30 minutes 28 deal, because that is huge, right? So let's look at that. So obviously Trump says our hearts and prayers are with you. Trump offers his condolences to the McCain family after his death. But look when he actually died. McCain died at 4:28 p.m. 28. So you can see that's the 28. I believe that's what he's talking about. And that links back to a post that was 30 days ago. It was actually, to be precise, it was exactly 31. So I'm not sure why Q put 30 versus 31. But this was actually, look at 8:28, 28 minutes, right? And we know that he talks about timestamps are important. So at 28 minutes, exactly at July 25th versus August 25th, almost exactly 30 days, right? Now July has 31 days. So it could be like the Jesus' death, where we talk about 3 days later he died. Friday to Sunday is only 2 days, but they actually counted those days. So it's almost the opposite when he's taken away, right? So to say 30 days is not as conclusive as I would like, but really wild that, and I think that's what he's talking about now, is that 30 days ago, basically 31 days ago, he posted this post that says, hands up. And it was talking about this, timestamp 28 minutes. So what he said here was no name returning to the headlines Q. So the hands were up in the picture. No name returning to headlines Q. And so obviously he's today referring to this picture in this post that was exactly ended the timestamp at 28 minutes, just like John McCain's death at 4:28. So both of those show that he knew, that Cueanon somehow knew that the death certificate was going to say that. That obviously means this was probably planned, and he had information about that being planned. And so that is pretty wild stuff if you really think about it. Now there's a lot of other people talking about today is National Dog Day, and he actually used the term dog, talking about a post that had to do with McCain. And so I'm going to show you how to find that. So you just type dog in the filter, and there's 4 of them. And then I like to click off of this and then hit Control F again. That brings up the find window, right? And then you can type in dog again. 7 matches. I always like to go back to the earliest possible one. So the first time we see dog, it was 6:41 here in January, of a dog followed closely behind his owner. Now, that's not the one we're talking about, because it doesn't say anything about no name or McCain, right? So here's another one. Every dog has its day. So this is the one. So people are posting to this. 1649. It says, please do not let no name off the hook. He is a disgrace to veterans across the great country and needs to be held accountable. And this was basically in June 30th. This Anon actually posted that. And so Cueanon reposted that, which pretty much confirms usually that they've got some stuff on McCain. Obviously, he wouldn't be reporting that, right? Think SC vote to confirm coming. No name action. Every dog has its day. Enjoy the show. So people are saying, hey, every dog has its day. He died. And then actually, this is one day off as well. He died yesterday on the 25th. The National Dog Day is on the 26th. Now, but he did die the night of the 25th, and almost all the coverage of the news is today, which is National Dog Day. So people are combining that. And in fact, there's a meme or thing that somebody's pulled together. I'll show you here in a second. It looks like it's scrolled over to this one. But it's kind of crazy when you start looking at all this stuff. And I did a lot of research on this and pulled it up here so we can talk about it. And here's the meme that actually talks about this. Traitor No Name died on the National Dog Day. We are indeed seeing a movie. Trust the plan. And this talks about give man's best friend a bone on National Dog Day, and it shows it's today. And so what that William Shakespeare, every dog has its day, right? It means that even the lowest person will someday get a little bit of glory. And so that's what this is talking about. And this goes over all of some of the Q posts that actually links No Name in Syria with terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda and all the nefarious activities that Q is pointing to, that he was indeed potentially a traitor, right? And if you look back here, no name Republican departure soon. This was back on August 11th. So obviously departure, it doesn't say death. So I thought that was just interesting that it says that. And again, this points back to that every dog has his day. John McCain was funded by George Soros. I've shown that many times. And so this is really getting deep. Now, if I kind of go back to some of these other posts, you'll see, like, here's the actual post that actually was talking about John McCain. I think it's down here lower. I'm going to go Control F here again once and look for no name or McCain. He might have actually listed him this time. No, he was no name. No name. There it is. So he said departure soon when he was listing all these deals. This is actually the 8chan. I just wanted to show you the literal source of this. I'm not expecting you guys to really go on 8chan, but here's another one that detailed that out. It was a different link that somebody had put on there. Darn it, looks like I may have messed up that link. Here's the one that says no name returning to the headlines. This is exactly what it looked like when he did this on 7/25. You can see it's 18/28, that's 6:28 p.m. And again, just going back to really make sure we do thorough analysis. And there's a lot of Reddit posts. So if you go to reddit.com and subscribe to The Great Awakening, which I highly suggest all of you guys do, you'll see. And here is just no name Republican departure soon, and some discussion on it. Yes, I've been in 8chan for hours, and even the Anons are astounded by this one. One recently said this was the most amazing proof of all. ClockFag's doing great work laying it all out there. That's what they call. They call everybody clock. They call everybody FAGS. This is with what they're good at, basically. So anyway, so whether that Q clock comes in today, I went and looked at the clock at the 28 period, and it was like, it wasn't this day. It was like 9/1 is the next major date for the clock on the 28th minute, for those of you who know what I'm talking about with the clue clock. I don't get into that one. I don't even show it as a proof. It's too confusing for me. I don't think it's very conclusive. Some people love that and think it's very conclusive, but I just prefer to use other proofs that are much easier to understand for people. I'm going to go back to some other things on this John McCain thing before we go do our own research. Here's some other discussion on Suicide Weekend and this whole post, and it's a discussion on it. Exactly what I thought when somebody said, note, Cindy, no name, indicated he went out on his own terms. Suicide? ? And somebody says exactly what I thought. So that's why there's speculation that this could have been a suicide. My personal opinion is I don't even think he's dead. Yeah, that's my personal opinion, okay? It's going to be scary because I know that if you look back to the Pizzagate thing or saying something bad about Hogg, this could be another one of those that just gets me kicked off of YouTube right away. By the way, I'm about ready to launch onto Vimeo. It's going to be my backup channel. I know a lot of people want me to go to other platforms, but I think VidMe is like completely shut down now because of lack of funding. I don't think there's going to be many winners here. I think YouTube and Vimeo might be the only ones left. And so I'm going to a platform where I believe number one, I can live I can live stream like I am now if I get kicked off YouTube. So Vimeo is where I'm going to end up going as my backup channel. So anyway, a lot of discussions here about this post. You can come here to hear Bruce Orr testifies in 2 days. So that's what we're talking about, the big week. That's probably going to be part of it, I would imagine. And this is an interesting post because it says, he absolutely cannot escape from or lie about the fact that he was funneling information from the fired and discredited Christopher Steele back to the FBI to continue the spying operation. He cannot escape from a lie about the fact that his wife was working for Fusion GPS, the very company charged with the task of taking down Trump. Why does it matter? Because Bruce Orr doesn't work in intelligence. Bruce Orr works in the Department of Justice on the crime and drug force. He was a major key to the entire scheme. He's effed. Game over. We have it all. Yeah, No Name lived a farce. He was a cowardly traitor in life, and he ends like a coward too. I hope all he did to attack this nation is exposed and what he did to President Trump and against the American people, right? So I think McCain was part of delivering the dossier to the CIA, or the FBI, I believe, to the FBI. I think the major culprit here was Brennan, taking it to Harry Reid, and Harry Reid and McCain and are part of getting it to the FBI. So I think all that will be coming out here soon, as Bruce Orr testifies, right? So that may be some of the big things that links in John McCain here. Now here's another post that's just talked about John McCain dead at 81. May God bless the people around him again. I know it's a tough time when this happens. And he had a lot of money, but the John McCain Institute is going to be investigated, and where all that money went, and et cetera, and the whole border, all this is going to be exposed, I think. So it'll be real interesting to see. But obviously, he made a lot of people happy with the money he had, so they're going to be in for a shock when all this comes out, most likely. Now I'm going to tell you why I don't think he's actually dead, and based on the evidence, right? There's three possibilities. He actually died, right, at the exact time that the 28th minute. That, what's a 1 in 60 chance that's going to happen, right? That's to be the coincidence level there. Number two is that he committed suicide on the 28th minute, right? And the third one I think is most likely. This is a planned escape, I believe, but maybe not. I could be wrong. But here's why I believe that. As we dig into, let's just make sure. I could say a lot of things, but I won't, because Mom always said, if you can't say something good, don't say anything, right? And well, I feel bad for everyone that loved him. Exactly right. That's kind of my sentiment right there as well. And so we talked about so that's basically all the analysis that I saw in there. Now here's why. I wanted you to we looked at dog, but now I want you to go look at surgery. SURGEY. So you type that in the filter up there, and then again you go get out of that box and then go Control F, and it's going to show you 5. So it took those 1,900 plus posts and went down to only 5. So this is a beautiful tool. And then you go Control F and hit surgery again. Okay, and that is going to show you 7 matches, and then go backwards. It'll bring you to the first one. First one was October 29th. It says, what if John M. never had surgery, and that was a cover for a future out, if needed, against prosecution? So again, this is not me coming to some wild conclusion. This is me just reading Cueanon. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the next one. We'll read all 7 of these. See, again, he says this again, and this is on October 29th. What if John M. never had surgery, and that was a cover for a future out, if needed, against prosecution? So that's, again, repeated. There's some answers there that we can go look at in a second. But what if John M.'s surgery was fake? So he says this over and over again. This is October 31st. Okay. In fact, I was reading that studies show that most of that type of cancer that he supposedly had and was diagnosed with is almost always in the back of the brain. And you should know the surgery was right here, apparent, so everybody could see it, right? If it was back here and about his head, most people wouldn't see it. So if you're going to fake something, you want to make it look better, right? So that would be another potential. What surgery did he supposedly have? And that's the way he wanted us to research that. What he was diagnosed with was the type of cancer that starts with a G. I didn't really look at the exact name of that, but you can go look at that yourself. And then if you look here, it says that was a different one. That was a different one, heart surgery. So I think that was it. Oh, yeah. So now we're back to October 29th. But you can see 3 or 4 perfect examples of why it looks like, and when people did research on where he actually got surgery, it was at the Mayo Clinic, which is the Bushes are part, and we know the Bushes are complete deep state, New World Order people, and they were on the board of the Mayo Clinic. So this could be nefarious activity going on. Here's the answers here. I think this talks a little bit. The people on the board of directors Mayo Clinic could do that for him. It would protect the board member as well. He has a good reason to not know anything that would incriminate them as well, and it is their interest that he is protected, as him having a condition or lack of mental fitness to stand trial would protect them. So anyway, that's then it talks about Soros. See if they had anything else on John McCain here. I thought there was one more. Extra answers. That's where I found it. So there was another thing that talked a little bit. When sentencing judges are required to consider the need for the sentence imposed to provide a defendant with needed medical care in the most effective manner. So that was just a little bit of interesting information there. I think that's it. But yeah, so again, the Mayo Clinic, Bush-owned, basically deep state operated, and obviously usually the back of the head. So and 4 or 5 times Q tells us, what if the surgery was fake? Does he could they have made him up and look that bad? Who knows? But that, guys, I really believe that is the answer. So those are 3 possibilities. He actually died on the 28th minute, just like Q said he was going to, right? He actually committed suicide where he died on that 28th minute, and somehow Q knew about that. Or 3, which I think is the most logical, is that they already had information about how, that Q had access to, where they were going to fake his death. So again, their border in Arizona is not good, right? That's why they have a New World Order, Deep State 2 senators, right? That pretty much let that drugs and human trafficking and all kinds of things flow through, gun running through those Arizona borders. Jeff Flake as well as McCain, I believe, were completely corrupted in allowing that to happen. So anyway, that's my summary of what's actually, I believe, happened with McCain, and it'll be real interesting to see as we as we dig into this. Suicide weekend, ? And hands up. Well, here's pictures. 30 days ago, his hands were up, dying on the 28th minute, and this post was on the 28th minute. Is that impossible? Doesn't look like it to me. Coincidence? No, there are no coincidences. We are in control. Big week ahead. Q. Boy, we could have just got the biggest proof of Q ever right now, right here, as just an example of the hundreds and hundreds we already have. So let's get into some more Q news, and then we'll get into really studying who these New World Order people are and how they control the United States, right? So let's go to this, right? Here's some other fun news. Arizona governor, a Republican to appoint McCain's successor. So this is interesting. He's actually a MAGA guy. Now, I saw a little video. I wasn't going to show you, but McCain looking very bad, basically wanted his wife to replace him. So that's the big deep state movement, and I haven't listened to the news today, but I'm sure that's what everybody's moving. That's what the deep state's trying to make happen. Well, obviously that's just to protect everybody and to protect the McCain Institute and everything. Hopefully a true MAGA person gets put in there, and we need to hope that Arizona Governor Doug Ducey speaks at a roundtable. Hopefully he does the job that he's supposed to do, right? Now, moving on to some other Cueanon news. This is wild. Do you remember the hooah that Anon said? It's another proof. Look at this. General Flynn's background. Just keep follow him on Twitter if you have a Twitter account, and look at his head, because he's changing his background. It usually has some meaning. So I think he just changed this yesterday, and you go look at it. It says hooah. So if you go back to and search on, see if I can spell it right, hooah, it goes down to 5 of these, right? And then again, I do hooah again in the Control F, Command F if you're on the Mac, right? And then there's 3 matches here, so I go back, hooah, shoulder, and so this was what they were talking about. So this was Anon back on August 16th. Says, never have I been so proud to be an Army soldier. And then Q posts that and says, hooah, soldier, thank you for your service. God bless Q. So Q uses that word. The Anon uses that word. It's a great moment in patriotism. And then what does General Flynn do? He actually puts his background to say, hooah. So we got 2 huge proofs today on Cueanon. People who are denying this are they feel like fools. I mean, the Isaac Greens and the Corsies of the world and the Alex Jones who are trying to continue to dish Cueanon have to be feeling like fools as we all get more and more proof, and more people are following this movement, and millions. So sorry, disinformation agents, you've been labeled, I was looking at, for instance, this Isaac Green's. He's got about as many followers as I do, but he's getting extremely low traffic, right? Because he's lost his credibility, right? You just can't lie to red pill people. Red pill people can't be lied to. We're all taught to think for ourselves. And that's what I'm so proud of you guys doing. Thinking for yourself, helping me. I go through a lot of my comments on the weekends. I can't keep up with them on the week, but you guys are awesome. You're letting me know what I do wrong. Let me know when I pronounce things wrong. That's my biggest weakness I'm really working on. By the way, somebody let me know for the third time I'm not saying judicial right, but I've got it, judicial, right? So please help me continue doing that. Think for yourself, so don't believe everything I say. Go research yourself. That's why I teach you how to use this Cueanon board and filter and search. And I did it on Twitter yesterday where I could go through Trump's tweets and scroll down and actually go Control F and search for things. The more you can do research yourself, the better off we're all going to be as we think for ourselves, right? So now we're going to the Pope. It says calls for Pope to resign increase. What did he know about the abuse? So interesting things that's happening there. Obviously, so much corruption there. It's just really sad. But it needs to be exposed, obviously. We need to clean it up, and everybody needs to have a relationship directly with the one true God. That is the one thing that's going to happen. I think God's doing with that whole shenanigans there. Here's interesting. This guy supposedly owns a company, is a very awesome businessman. His name's Martin Geddes. And he actually said, I work at a bleeding edge of computer science. So I work at the bleeding edge of computer science. I am not an intellectual weakling. The hashtag Cueanon operation is extremely impressive and sophisticated. It reminds me of working alongside brilliant mathematicians. Beyond the ordinary realm, you would need to be mentally fit to grasp it. So here's another Cueanon proof. People, normies coming into the movement, right? I was a normie as well. That's not a bad term. It's just people who have not understood the truth yet, right? And so there's just a lot of great things here. I just did a little bit of digging on this guy now that I'm fairly new here, so apologies if this was previously known, but he's a fairly notable character. He owns a decent-sized company called Martin Geddes Consulting Limited, based out of Scotland, which is itself both a telecommunications company and a think tank dealing with the same. It would appear this company does a fair amount of business in both Europe as well as the U.S. He is not what I would consider your average Joe. Both he and his company are fairly well off, and I would wager are fairly well connected. So pretty cool that we have people like this coming onto the Q train. And that combined with the Q article that I showed you and linked to in my notes from yesterday are just great proof points. I sent them to one of my friends here just today. Both that tweet as well as that new article that doesn't use the word conspiracy theory right off in the title, where they're saying nothing to see here, where the MSM does their big attempt to take down Cueanon. And all it is bringing us more people. Thank you, MSM, you idiots. We appreciate your idiocy. So here we are. Here's a really interesting post that would take me quite a while to read through, and I'm going to do it because I just think it's awesome. Obama's secret pardons, a theory about how evil tried to escape justice and what Q POTUS did about it. Find on the chans. And so if you click on this, you can blow it up and actually read this, and I'm going to really blow it up so you guys can actually see it, right? So this is quite lengthy, but it's awesome. So I think it's a theory. Doesn't mean it's a fact. It's just hey. So he shows Obama, Cuomo, Brown, all Democrats, right? The secret pardon theory. What if Obama secretly issued unconditional pardons during the lame duck presidency from November 8, 2016 through January 2017 to corrupt individuals, including himself, for all federal crimes these bad actors committed from the first day of office until January 2027? What if Governor Cuomo did the same thing at the state level for bad actors living in New York? What if Governor Brown did as well for California? Others now assume Trump with this dirty little secret because Q says we have it all. Then Trump would need to play dumb from an inauguration day forward to set up a new sting operation that these individuals starting January 20th, 2017 to present. So if he literally has something that's enforceable, I just can't believe they were, but if they were enforceable to all these pardons that we don't even know about yet, basically the white hats and Trump had to catch them, military intelligence, NSA, had to catch them doing something bad after January 1st, 2017, right? And he even says here, Donald Trump, they talk about a quote that he tweet that he put on June 4th, where he says, as has been stated by numerous legal scholars, I have absolute right to pardon myself. But why would I do that when I have done nothing wrong? Right? And so Trump tweets contains clues. Trump recently tweeted that he had the absolute right to pardon himself. Why would he tweet this? Most likely it was to troll them. So Trump can showcase the hypocrisy of the MSM when Obama's secret pardon of himself is revealed. So the legal basis, and then this gives a lot of Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, protecting against future trials. Can a president issue a secret pardon? And it says, absolutely, a president can classify anything for reasons of national security. The secret pardon would only be made public in the event of a bad actor was arrested for the future for the crime. And at that point, the bad actor could produce the secret pardon and avoid jail time for that crime. This type of pardon is more common for spies based on keeping information hidden for national security. You can see, though, so Obama probably did this. So that's a theory. So how did the white hats that have everything and know everything and Trump deal with this? Well, we'll see here in a second. So here's Q posting insights. So on October 29th, Q said, why wasn't HRC prosecuted for the emails? Therefore, indicting HRC would lead to indicting Obama and his cabinet, etc., which could never happen. So what crimes can be pardoned? As a presidential pardon covers any federal crimes listed in the pardon during a specific date range. It doesn't cover state crimes, military crimes, tribunals, or international crimes. What about state crimes? Those crimes would need to be pardoned in the state that the crime occurred in by governor of the state while likely working in conjunction with crooked attorney general. Just for fun, let's list the last 3 AGs from New York. Eric Schneiderman, Andrew Cuomo, Eliot Spitzer. Now let's look at the recent AGs from California as well. Xavier Becerra, Camille Harris, Jerry Brown. Nothing to see here, folks, just a coincidence. When Trump was elected, you can possibly imagine the steps taken prior to losing power to ensure future safety and control. So that was a number 30 Cueanon post on November 1st. Again, says when Trump was elected, you can't possibly imagine the steps taken prior to losing power to ensure future safety and control. Were those classified pardons, secret pardons by corrupt AGs as well as the president? Yeah, I think it could be. There's an interesting theory here. What about international crimes? A pardon doesn't cover any crimes committed in other nations by U.S. citizens. Let's consider a few interesting places Trump has targeted: Saudi Arabia, North Korea, and Iran. Could these nations hold secret military tribunals on citizens if the person committed a crime within that nation? You bet. Here's another drop on June 12th by Cueanon, number 1470. It says, entire false narratives was created to Number 1, prevent the election of POTUS. Number 2, delay, mask, hide all illegal activities by Hussein others during the past 8 years. What dates can be pardoned? A pardon only covers a specific time frame in the past up to the date the pardon is issued. For example, Obama could have pardoned Hillary for every federal crime she has ever committed on or before January 20th, 2017. This includes murder, treason, etc. You get the idea. The secret pardon could be patriotically worded to sound like the individual was pardoned for national security efforts that resulted in classified crimes while protecting the nation from Russia tampering. Why should you care? As the Great Awakening reveals, more of the sinister truth about them, the public is beginning to realize how every part of the government, business, healthcare, and media has been weaponized against you and for them. Now open your mind and continue to forward your research. You must decide what's true. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about next. Is this chapter 15 shows how the New World Order completely controls us, and how they basically have corrupted and Obama just took it to the next level, right? But they've been doing it for a long, long time. So dig, discern, decide, or you might as well go back to sleep. So now here's another column. It talks about Q posts and insights. And this is a post number or drop number 1180 on April 19th. It says they never thought she would lose. They never thought she would lose. Imagine it's election night and you realize that Trump is your next president. You thought she would win because you had rigged the election. Now you must immediately do everything you can between the election night and inauguration day to try to avoid jail or worse. An example, John McCain. Post number 153 on November 14th. Why did HRC give a concession speech? Why didn't HRC give a concession speech? What happened post-election day? Obama's main job was likely to begin the process of drafting secret pardons, including one for himself, classifying evidence, building firewalls, and embedding operatives. Kerry rushed to Antarctica. Hillary got drunk. Bill got laid. Podesta probably called Marina and said, the spirit cooking didn't work. You get the idea. So here's post number drop 1016. Hussein timeline, 1/2017 today. Cross against POTUS schedule. Cross against White House visitor log from 1/22 to 1/18/17. But the NSA and Trump had it all. Now imagine the NSA and Trump had it all. And the good guys were listening and watching the chaos and cover-up every step of the way. You must also imagine that the bad guys did not realize they were being observed at the time. Thus, the sting was in play. This is the big sting. We have it all. And this is one reason why it couldn't happen so fast. They may have had to find crimes for all these people after 1/2017, right? And so you can imagine, so all these sealed indictments didn't start happening until November of 2017, right? And so that January to November, that 10 or 11 months there, could be why they were finding all the new crimes that were being committed over the last year and a half, right? So here, this talks about 1124. We have it all. The NSA knew about Obama all along. Based on Trump's tweeting pattern since 2012, one might presume that the NSA had it all years ago. Ask yourself, did the military recruit Trump around 2012? And remember, Snowden was used by them to cripple the Patriot NSA and help the cabal CIA in 2013. That is such a huge revelation. If you go watch the Snowden movie, it's a lie. It's propaganda, the Snowden movie, to show you that he did some great patriotic move to help expose the evil NSA. Instead, he was put there as a CIA operative to take down the patriots in the NSA so that the cabal could get stronger. That's just a fact, guys, if you start looking at the details. Many would contend that a group of military patriots knew the truth about Obama before he was elected in 2008. Why? Because the USS named him Renegade. Interesting, huh? And that was the Secret Service that was doing that. So the 311, the December 9th, the 311 drop was December 9th. It says, what was the USS code name for Hussein? R equals Renegade. They knew all along. So basically, Q tells us they knew all along. The sting operation. In the event that secret pardons occurred for federal crimes committed before January 20th, 2017, Trump would need to play dumb for as long as possible by drawing all the attention to him. The sting, Q likes movies, would be designed to catch the bad actors committing federal crimes after January 20th, 2017 to present. In the meantime, other teams would be looking into state crimes, military crimes, and international crimes. This is only possible if they thought they were not being monitored. Nothing is ever truly erased, deleted. These people are stupid. Declassify POTUS. That was post 559 on January 19th. Last column. There's holes in the theory. This theory is plausible but unproven. When you read this, you will undoubtedly agree with parts of it, and you may also likely disagree with parts of it. So what? Build on it. Throw it away. You decide, not me. Real anons are unoffendable, and Q has asked us to dig. The theory is guided into 5 core principles. Number 1, does the evidence support the theory? Number 2, is the theory supported by Q post? Number 3, is there any contradictory evidence? Number 4, has information been sourced? Number 5, what does your common sense tell you? Post 995 on April 3rd, future proves past. Ask yourself this question. Everyone knows the mainstream media, the MSM, will immediately throw Trump under the bus for the slightest perceived infraction, especially if they can claim racism. If the Q post number 341 below is true, then what are the odds that the MSM would remain 100% silent after Trump ordered a raid of documents waiting to go into the Barack Obama presidential library? This would scream racist dictator if they could. Obviously, they know about this raid since Q mentioned it. The logical outcome of this raid is that Trump now has all documents, including secret pardons, for the MSM. And the MSM has been trapped by the sting. So they are now following Trump's orders. To me, that's going a little too far. The way they're acting, I don't think they're, but I think they're trapped, right? But this is post 341. Here it is. December 13th, 2017 says, Barack Obama Presidential Library, raided by the good guys per POTUS. Shockingly quiet. No leaks. So I agreed that this happened. Q told us it did, right? And that the MSM doesn't want to talk about it because they're implicated in it. I don't think that means they're following us. I think they just know that they need to take Trump out. They need him impeached now, right? And impeachment only is like an indictment. They need him impeached as well as thrown out of office by the Senate. And that is just not going to happen, especially because the Lord's in control here. We need to continue to pray. We need to continue to take action. We need to continue to vote. But if we do those things, you can watch the show in comfort. So this says, don't worry, justice is coming. Lastly, don't worry. Every one of these evil Satanists will go down. But it must be done legally and carefully to destroy them. We get one chance to destroy the entire corrupt system. So here's a collusion by Anonymous. He says, think logically. They never thought she would lose. It's election night on November 8th, 2016. A patriot has just won the White House. They thought the election was rigged. But the good guys unrigged the election. Panic sets in for the deep state. They have until January 20th, 2017 to act. They must distract and delay Trump until he can be framed and impeached. Obama himself, secret pardons and immunity for himself. Obama issues secret pardons and immunity for himself, his cabinet, and others. MSM. For federal crimes before January 20th, 2017, Cuomo, New York, and Brown, California, do it as well. Trump knows their plans and plays dumb and lets them continue to commit crimes. After January 20th, 2017, when the pardon ends, Trump orders the raid on Obama library. Trump tweets that he can pardon himself. Trump knows Obama pardoned himself. Media silence proves Trump has it all. Justice is served cold, but completely. Woo! I just think that's so awesome. So you can find that again on the Great Awakening board. And again, you go to reddit.com, and then you have to go subscribe to the Great Awakening subreddit. It's called. It's right here. See where it says Great Awakening, r/Great Awakening. That is an awesome article, one of the best I've seen yet, and I really believe that he might really be over the target. Some other news. Just crazy how much news, and it was less than 24 hours. I did a full hour, right? Helicopter activity at Epstein Island this evening. No dome, no statues. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if that's been verified yet. Last piece of news, a pro-MAGA governor is set to appoint the replacement senator for John McCain. Dems lost the majority in the Senate before the midterms. So anyway, we'll see if that happens. I talked about that article a little bit ago. So hey, follow me on Facebook. If you have a Facebook, it's Blessed to Teach. So just search Blessed to Teach on Facebook, and you'll see me there. And on Twitter, you can see me here as well. It's at Blessed to Teach right here. So if you don't have, I've recommended we use their platforms against them. I know a lot of people are coming off because of protectionism, etc. I don't blame you at all, but just wanted to let you know that that there it is. So you'll see me there, Blessed to Teach. Okay. I also have a podcast going. So again, and a lot of people were confused, even though iTunes, it disperses it all over the place, so your Androids can get this. So most likely, if you go to your favorite podcast app that you have on Android or your computer or on your Apple, you will be able to find Blessed to Teach. You just have to search on Blessed to Teach. And what it does, it just downloads this exact video. There's the one I did yesterday. About 4 hours after I'm done, it actually gets posted up to all these podcast sites. Has all my notes, my same notes there. So again, about 4 hours after I post, it's actually going to go out. So go use your favorite podcast tool, and you'll see that. Now I'm going to jump into chapter 15 of this book. It's going to talk about who's actually controlling I'm trying to get the that's a pretty cool cover by this is The Killing of the Uncle Sam. But the United States, and chapter 15 is awesome in this book, by the way. And it really, so before I do that, I'm going to do a quick update on my wife's business. Again, I don't take money. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have anything, right? So I'm major negative in the as far as money on doing with this effort, with all the equipment, etc. But hey guys, I really appreciate it if you just help my wife. It's a win-win-win, I call it. It doesn't cost you any money. It's just actual bills you're already paying. You just move over to my wife's company as a reseller. Same companies, even a lot of them, and you save money. And I know it's a pain to change your service, but it costs you nothing. And then that will feed kids as well as help my wife's business. And I'm hoping that she can cut her hours way down. So anyway, and it's not just the United States. It's all over the place, right? The Five Eyes countries are on here, of United Kingdom, as well as I was trying to find the Five Eyes on here. Australia, New Zealand, as well as Canada, right? So all the Five Eyes countries and a bunch of others. So go look to see if my wife can help you out with services. There's a link down in every video that just has a survey, and you can just click on there and send your email. I would appreciate if you'd send your phone number, though. We have a lot of people have filled these out, and hardly anybody's converted. And the reason is because Shannon needs to kind of talk to you about your services to land on them. And the services are great. Verizon and Sprint, the best companies in the world, right? AT&T Frontier for bundles on home and TV and stuff like that. Dish TV and Direct TV. The Innovator of the Year, Vivint. You can resell through Shannon's ACN company here that does home automation. It's awesome, as well as security, basic security. And the Energy Retailer of the Year. I've saved tons of money for people on their electric bills. Electric prices are going way up. So check your pricing, because you can probably save some money with Zoom Energy for if you're in the 19 states that are where you have competitive energy, right? Also solar energy you can get here as well. And a home phone. But the one business service and anything in business, the one business service I just have to estimate, just talk about again, Anovia, Square. If you see somebody have a little an iPad with a little device on there and they're slashing the credit card with a little, or a phone or a laptop, that's most likely Square. That's started by Dorsey at Twitter. It's a deep state company and run by Google now. So please get off that. They're also ripping you off. They're charging you 2.75%. Or if you have a friend or see anybody doing Square, please let them know they're getting ripped off, and that Shannon can save them a lot of money. Almost save half the. It's more secure that their mobile device player, and you can take credit cards any way. So this is credit card processing. Credit cards any way you can take them. It blows away Square, half the price. So call Shannon up or fill that survey out and let us know. So that's all I have there. Let me get into this chapter 15. This is wild. And so, guys, I'm not going to go over like I normally do all the other 14 chapters. It just sets up how Cecil Rhodes had this vision way back in South Africa. He actually that's where Kimberley Club, where he started a lot of the secret societies and stuff. But he was actually at Oxford when he had the vision just after becoming a light bearer as a Mason. And he had, I believe, a satanic vision, but he definitely had a vision. He talks about it, and where he saw the New World Order, where basically the United States would come underneath England again, and you'd have one world government, one world religion. And that New World Order vision, after he got with the Rothschilds and all through England and South Africa, moved into America heavily. And they converted all the wealthiest people into this. And they all became non-godly people who got heavily into the occult. And this included Andrew Carnegie and the Rockefellers and J.P. Morgan. And so they basically had a cabal of money cabal with all the money part with J.P. Morgan and the Rothschilds, and then also all the business by Andrew Carnegie and a lot of the J.P. Morgan companies and the Vanderbilts and all this going on. And you know the 13 bloodlines. They all link into this New World Order and what we call the CFR. So let's dig into this chapter, and you'll see how their deep roots go in through all this. This is called the shadow government. Chapter 15 of, again, The Killing of Uncle Sam, written by Howard Rodney Brown and Paul Williams. Awesome book. I finished it. It's got like 40 chapters. I'm on 15 with you guys, but it's awesome and worth it. Okay? May 30th, 1919. Now, oh, and by the way, just one last thing is they have like over 1,000 notes, right? So this is incredibly well documented. The notes page right here, there's 36 notes for just one chapter, right? And so you multiply that by 40, there's just tons and tons of notes that you can go back and look at. So here's May 30th, 1919. Members of the American and British delegation, all parts of the Round Table, which was a secret society, many secret societies. This Round Table was the one in America. Meet at the Majestic Hotel in Paris to create an Institute for International Affairs with 2 chapters. So the Royal Institute of International Affairs, RIIA, was also called the Chatham House Study Group, to advise the British government, and the Council of Foreign Relations, CFR, as a think tank for the U.S. State Department. So the U.S. State Department and CFR are the collusion here. That's what's destroying our nation. Okay, House of Morgan, and so the other organizations were set up for the Far East, as well as Paris, as well as Hamburg, all meet in secret, and the speakers and members were not even revealed. The House of Morgan and the CFR, and again, this is Council of Foreign Relations. The first president, John W. Davis, was Morgan's private attorney, thanks to relationships to the Rothschilds. Back to the Rothschilds, own 98% of the banks. They siphon us out. They'll purposely cause booms in economies and then crash them, then go buy up everything. It's absolutely criminal. You go look back at the Rothschilds, how they started. They funded both sides of wars, then fake like one was losing and one was winning. Everybody sells the war bonds, and then they go buy up everything. That's how the Rothschilds got control of the central bank in England, and eventually through a long series of things we went over in the first 14 chapters, they got control of the central bank in America. Sad day when that happened, back 50 years before I was born, actually, and so it's just crazy to see. In 1913, on December 23rd, I believe it was. So if you look back here, the CFR monthly publication, Foreign Affairs. This is where the mainstream media and the propaganda hits. The editor was Edwin Gary, and the president of the New York Post, that was owned by Morgan. So all these wealthy people and all these New World Order people, they own the press. They own every one of the 6 presses. Right? We had 50 of them just back in 1950. I think we had 50 different major companies that owned the media in the United States, but now it's down to 6 major corporations, and they're all completely tied to Bilderberg, the Trilateral Commission, as well as the Council of Foreign Relations. I've shown you that chart before, right? And the House of Morgan, so basically most all members had ties to Carnegie, Rockefeller foundations, as the funding for the CFR came from the Rockefellers. So they fund all these things. They fund all these huge foundations to control our education completely. And so all these universities have to teach what they want them to teach, or they're not going to get the funding. And so they've used their wealth to basically completely control education and academia, completely control the politicians, and completely control the media. The shadow government CFR, John Foster Dulles, another Morgan lawyer, was related to the Rockefellers through his wife, and he later became Secretary of State for President Eisenhower. They own all the important positions. So CFR are actually having people become Secretary of State. His younger brother, Alan, also a CFR founding member and Morgan lawyer, would become the director of the CIA. So they take the director of the CIA position over, they take the director of the State Department, and they completely only do what the cartel wants them to, the deep state shadow government wants them to do. And they have complete control over the U.S. government from these shadow areas of secret meetings that we don't where we don't even know what they're doing, right? And they're basically just trying to figure out how to enrich themselves, get more power and enrich themselves. And that's what they do 20 times a year at these secret meetings. Morgan & Company post-World War I had almost unlimited power screened from the public. So completely shadowed from the public. 10 years after CFR was formed, some documented over 80 financial and 86 non-financial institutions under Morgan influence, $77.6 billion in assets. That's more than 25% of the whole American corporate wealth at that time. And that didn't even include Rockefeller, and they became completely intertwined. 25% did not include the assets of Rockefeller. By the turn of the 20th century, the alliance had become so close, it became difficult for financial analysis to discern what holdings were Morgan's versus the Rockefellers. And CFR was a cartel's source of power. So this Council for Foreign Relations, got that mixed up. The Council of Foreign Relations is a cartel's source of power. Morgan, Rothschild, and eventually Rockefeller controlled it, financed it, selected the staff, and set the agenda, and moved its member into key government positions. The purpose was to align America's foreign policy with that of the money cartel, similar to the Federal Reserve aligned the economic policy. Ultimate goal of its founders, the accumulation of the world's wealth into those few people. Start with elite private schools such as Groton, then to Ivy League institutions with exclusive fraternities such as the Yale Skull and Bones. We know the Bushes was there, the Careys were there, right? So the Skull and Bones is one of the many of these special fraternities within these Ivy League schools where they basically do occult activities and have all these secret meetings. Then off to careers as Wall Street lawyers, corporate executives, bank officials, or high-ranking government directors. Then the offer to join the CFR. They obviously joined, right? They formed alliances with movers and shakers in politics, business, and industry. Other alliances to shape public policy through lobbyist, PACs, and political contributions. So they can completely control the politicians through. That's why George Soros obviously gives so much money to people like John McCain and others, right, to help control them. And you just follow the Soros money, and you'll really learn a lot about what's going on here. Policy and strategy are worked out by the council and then reach the president by the way of the State Department. So since they control the CIA, they control the State Department, and the State Department is controlled by the CFR, these secret meetings of these wealthy people are what controls the United States. CFR and the media control. Richard Howard, managing editor of the Washington Post, wrote, quote, "The CFR members are the nearest thing we have to ruling establishment in the United States." Howard identified CFR members in top positions at the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, The Post, and in the network National News. These media officials, he concluded, do not merely analyze and interpret foreign policy of the U.S., they help make it. So non-elected officials through secret meetings are the one controlling our policies. CFR membership notables. Almost every major business bank in the country, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Chevron, Exxon, JP Morgan, Chase, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Shell Oil, American Express, Barclays, Lockheed Martin, Soros Fund Management, Facebook, Microsoft, Raytheon, Time Warner, Walmart. It's crazy. Completely controlled by the CFR. Now, if you look back at, so that's why I always wondered, I was a pretty smart businessman and did incredibly well, was made partner at Accenture really early in my career, and never was even approached to get on any boards. Well, it's all rigged through they get all the board positions. This is what I finally realized after studying this. Here's some key names: include Warren Beatty, Michael Bloomberg, Sidney Blumenthal. This all basically reads like a John Bolton, one of the few but most of these people, it just reads like a anti-Trump deal, right? Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Katie Couric of Good Morning America, right? I think George Clooney, Dianne Feinstein, Joseph Kennedy, Edward Kennedy, Henry Kissinger, John McCain. Surprise, surprise, he's CFR. Joe Lieberman, John Kerry, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, John D. Rockefeller, David Rockefeller Jr., Joe Scarborough, Liberal Joe, right? And total anti-Trump derangement syndrome. George Soros, Jonathan Soros, surprise, surprise. Barbara Walters, Janet Yellen, she was over the Federal Reserve for years, right? The CFR, I don't know why I keep... the Council of Foreign Relations, Subversive Purposes. In 1957, a Congressional Investigative Committee revealed that the CFR clandestinely serves to promote internationalism in a particular sense, a form directed toward world government, and to create derogation of American nationalism. This is accomplished by vast propaganda, supplying executives and advertisers in the government with the power of the purse. Wow, we're already at an hour, guys. We're gonna get through this and then wrap it up. Foreign Affairs was called the most influential periodical in print by Time Magazine. In its inaugural issue, September 1992, it condemned the dubious doctrines expressed by such phrases as safety first and America first. They were anti-MAGA. In its second issue, they declared, obviously, there is going to be no peace or prosperity of mankind as long as it remains divided into 50 or 60 independent states. On April 1972, an issue highlighted the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain and the president of Yale University. They said, our national purpose should be to abolish American nationality in order to invite others to pool their sovereignty with ours. 2 years later, they had a piece on the hard road to the New World Order. And we are witnessing an outbreak of short-sighted nationalism. That's the way these people think. They're complete globalists. They're complete New World Order Satanists. It's crazy. Strategy is bottom-up versus top-down to end run around the national sovereignty. Erode it piece by piece will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. So they're trying to, that's what George Soros has been doing for years. And through the State Department, through CFR, through CIA directors, they completely have eroded our nationalism. CFR John Dewey co-authored the Humanist Manifesto, surprise, surprise, calling for synthesis of all religions and socialized and cooperative economic order. So basically, they support socialism. They want to bring all the countries together and support socialism. It's a New World Order agenda. Other CFR pieces included the universal peace can be found only by the unity of man under a law of one government. All states deflated and disciplined must align themselves under the law of the world state, the New World Order. The New Order, when the hearsay of nationalism is conquered and the absurd architecture of the present world is finally dismantled, and there must be a common creed or ethic religious purpose. That's what this agenda is, guys. That's what we were going to be completely on if Hillary had got elected. By 2017, the Council of Foreign Relations members have become 20 secretaries of states, 19 secretaries of treasury, 15 secretaries of defense, and hundreds of other federal department heads, along with 21 of the 24 CIA directors, and every chairman of the Federal Reserve since 1951. The CFR holds 120 meetings a year at the Pratt House, held in secrecy under a rule of non-arbitration, meaning everything is off the record secret, immediate expulsion if anything is revealed, giving financial advantage to those in the CFR. Study groups. The CFR sponsors an average of 20 study groups a year on special foreign policy topics to advance its agenda in the CFR inner core. Substantial research facilities of the CFR are put to work to develop arguments, intellectual and emotional, to support a new policy or to confound or discredit intellectually and politically in opposition propaganda. Study groups have resulted in the creation of the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. The IMF, yeah. Just terrible, guys. Here's the conclusion. CFR control the foundations, 12 of the 15 Rockefeller Foundation trustees, 10 of the 15 foundations, I think that was Rockefeller Foundation trustees, and 10 of 14 of the Carnegie Foundation trustees were members of the CFR. Council of Foreign Relations. By the second decade of the 21st century, the State Department was in control of the CFR, Dulles brothers under Eisenhower. The study groups and the State Department got what they wanted, and the result was wars without borders, ceaseless political upheavals, mass migrations of uprooted populations, and with the concentration of wealth within a favored few, and the globalization of poverty. That's what we have running this country, guys. Since we're so late, I'm going to just say a quick prayer, wrap it up, but just let you know in about 15 minutes, I'm going to start a quick Bible study. Even if you're not a Christian, I would suggest that you guys just do that. It's just going to be a little quick half-hour thing, maybe even less, and then we'll do some more extensive praying there for our country. And would love to have you guys join me in that, in the Bible study on Ezra 4 and 5. It talks about how Cyrus was literally prophesied about 150 years before he was born. And, so it shows that God is in control. He told us about Trump being elected through his prophets years before the election. And we're going to dig into Isaiah 45 as well as Ezra 4 and 5. But let's pray about this. Heavenly Father, thank you for revealing us all this truth through these great books like Killing the Deep State and Cueanon. And Lord, we do pray for the families of John McCain and those who loved him and those who are feeling a loss at this point in time. Lord, but we do reveal that justice is served through all that, and that the truth will come out about what's really happened. If there's anything that we are saying about John McCain that is not true, I pray that gets revealed as well, Lord. But just comfort that family. Bring more of them to understand who you really are. We just pray that if John McCain is still alive, that eventually he comes to understand who you are. But he's not going to escape justice, Lord. The justice is coming down on everybody, and we thank you for that, Lord. We thank you. You are a God of love, but also a God of justice. And those two pieces have to go together. We can love people as well as bring justice. And Lord, show us how you want to use us in this fight for our national sovereignty, this fight for religious liberty, this fight to rid criminals out of all parts of our government and society, and eventually help the rest of the world and the patriots there do the same. We thank you for the privilege of serving you. We say these in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, God bless you guys. Again, I'll be back on in about 15 minutes to go over the Bible study and some more extensive prayer and talk to you guys a little bit more. God bless you. Talk to you soon.